For more on this, we're now joined by Thomas Remington, live from Cambridge in Massachusetts. He is a visiting professor at Harvard University's School of Government. It's good to have you on the show, sir. Let me ask you about what President Zelenskyy said there about the liberation of Kherson and it being the beginning of the end of the war. Do you think it is?
It probably is. Kherson is, the city is so important. It was the first major prize to be captured by the Russians, a provincial capital. That province, Kherson province, is a key for the Russian supply lines from Crimea into their operations elsewhere in Ukraine. Kherson is symbolically important, but there is still a lot of territory behind it, to the east and south of it, of Kherson province, not to mention Zaporizhia province. So yes, a long, hard fight awaits, but this was so symbolically important, strategically important, and politically important back home in Russia that yes, I think maybe he can call this close to a turning point.
Let's not forget, Thomas, that Russia had sort of self-proclaimed that these four territories in eastern Ukraine was actually a part of Russian territory and that they would do everything to protect it. From a Russian perspective, it may not be the beginning of the end then.
You're right. And there is a lot of consternation in the Russian social media about the fact that Russia claimed these territories as its own. Russia promised we will be here forever. And so for the most conservative, hawkish commentators, the abandonment of Kherson city is tantamount to abandoning a Russian city. Realistically, that's nonsense, but I think it is a source of division and contention in the Russian body politic.
Let me ask you, I mean, what do you think is a more likely in terms of a scenario that brings an end to this conflict? Is it A, that Russia sort of pushed back to the area that pro-Russian separatists controlled before the beginning of this conflict, or that Ukraine actually liberates all of the areas, including Crimea?
We know that Ukraine's very clearly stated goal is to liberate all of the territories that are part of sovereign Ukraine. A lot will depend on the outcome, of course, of the war. Ukraine now has advanced long-range weapons, missiles and rockets. That has changed the military position. Ukraine can now attack Russian positions behind the Russian front lines, weakening and cutting off its supply lines. Therefore, it is not unrealistic for Ukraine to think it can, in fact, retake the territories seized by Russia, even those in 2014. Perhaps more realistic is a ceasefire along a line. We don't know where it will be, but one where neither side is making much progress and negotiations can begin. That too is a possibility.
Okay, Thomas Remington, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. I do appreciate your analysis. Thank you.